Anishinaabe way of life is a sacred way of living, together with all of the beautiful creation that Creator has given us. Our people lived for countless generations here on the land. We lived in harmony with the plants and the animals and with one another, sharing all that we had. We followed the sacred teachings and the natural laws, and Creator provided everything for us. Those ways are still sacred and as precious as ever. As Red people, we carry the two sacred gifts of spirit and the land. We have a spiritual relationship with the land. It is who we are, it is who we have always been, and it is who we will always be. Over the past 40 years, the Sun Lodge Village family has been researching these ways and conducting traditional ceremonies, leading the way for the coming generations to rekindle the ancestral fire of knowing who we are. Our ceremonies, our prayers, our spirit names, the medicines, the sacred pipe, the sweat lodge, the drum, the sun dance, these are all ways that reconnect us to our ancestors, to our identity, and to the sacred fire that still burns within us. The Sun Lodge is one place where these sacred ways are being nurtured and shared with all who choose to participate.
You need to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, where are you going to go? You need to know that.
When I talk to Creator, I always thank Him for such a beautiful way of life that it's so beautiful and yet it's so simple. It's so simple if you really think about what it is that He gave us. That it requires work, of course, but He put everything there for us to use. It's right, like I said, outside our back door, and all we have to do is go to work and get it and use it. As I experienced my own teachings and my own way of life, I realized how beautiful a way it was and how it was so respectful to the land and to the animals and to everything that God created. As far back as I can remember our people were always a sharing, giving people. They always shared whatever they had with whoever crossed their path. That was just a normal thing for us, and that's part of the teachings that we're receiving traditionally now. And I believe that they had that because it was in their heart as a Red person. They were taught to always share and always give whatever they had, because we were not rich, but we had gardens, we hunted, we fished, and we traded with each other. For, like, say, if the guy had deer meat, he would trade with somebody from another community for fish, and that's how they lived, and there was no welfare, and we all survived. And when someone in a family in your neighborhood got sick, those other families took care of those children and that mother until that father would return home. So there was things that happened automatically, and I remember those things, and I hope that someday we can return to those valuable lessons that we learned back then.
The name that I carry is Ogima Kenyu, meaning leading eagle man. I'm of the Eagle clan, which is Kenyu Doreen, and I'm Wapshkimakwa Ogichita, which means a white bear warrior, a warrior of peace. And that's the journey that I've been on. I spoke to 4 elders in my community here. I told them, I'm going to go out and seek what our ancestors had. And the inspiration behind all of that, was the treaty that was signed, with the grass, with the water, and the sun. That was something that inspired me to find out, why did our ancestors, why did a race of people, why did our people sign a treaty with the sun, with the grass and the water? But one of the messages that were really strong for me when I spoke to those elders in our community is that she said to me, she was married into this community, she spoke the language. Her husband was actually a chief here at one time. But she said to me, Gary, she says, I'm really glad that you're going out, she says, to seek your own way of life. You're going out to find out, she says, what our people had, what they carried at one time. If you want to help the people, that was the words she used. My drive became stronger and stronger, to learn more about what my ancestors had. And so I started to meet other elders, that put me into ceremonies. I danced the sun dance back, it might have been in the late 70s, early 80s. And I started, to learn more and more about myself, started to learn more and more about what our ancestors had, and I was just so fascinated. I was just so drawn, so excited, so full of excitement. So my energy, just became so full in the way of wanting to know more and more about what our ancestors carried. The connections that they had to the animals, the four-legged. The connections, they had to the plant life. The connections, they had to the medicine. Even, the connections, to the what they call the physical life, which was like Mother Earth, Grandmother Moon, to some of them call them Grandfather Sun, and to the planets. All the connection, to the water, and how we all, were related in some way, like family, like we're all family to that, what I mentioned. And how those elements of environment, the spirit of that environment, and how it connected to my life. And how, without understanding, that destruction of that environment, is destroying yourself, destroying, the people on earth. All those kind of teachings, just were blowing me away. And all life is spiritual. There's spirit in everything. And so the answer to life actually really boils down to spiritualism. That's, what we're being shown. That's why I went to search for what my answers had back in time. We have the answers for those people that are asking those questions. But they have to want to find those answers. We can't do the work for them, but we can create an environment for them. That's what we're about. We'll create that environment for them, how they can find those answers for themselves.
There was a time, 25 years plus now ago, when we all journeyed together to go and, maybe to put it in better words, to be trained, to retrace those steps that our ancestors took, to reconnect with those ways that the Creator gave to us as a people. That was the first, that would be the first phase. We all journeyed to go and learn about what the Creator gave to us and who we were as a people. And for years, that's what we did as a family, and a whole lot of other people that were a part of that journey. And because we've been trained to some extent, and we know so much truth today about who we are. We know the sacredness of life. We know about Mother Earth and how she's alive and how she's the main provider of everything and how sacred she is. We know about those 7 teachings, those 7 laws And that's our foundation. And now it's about incorporating that into our daily lives. And when you learn to do those things, then it teaches you how to become a stronger person. Because now you're connected to everything, just like we should be. That's the problem that exists out there today, is man has disconnected themselves from the land, from the spirit of the land, and just took it upon themselves to become the dominant beings on the planet. And that's where so many things are wrong today. And we were all a part of that too, before we knew and know who we are today. And as we moved along and we're reconnected to everything again, and learned how to use our gifts, learned how to treat life in the most sacred way, it began to grow, because it's also a spiritual thing. And when you reach out to the Spirit, when you reach out to the Creator, He lets you know that He's not the only one there to provide His help for the human being. You know, He has a lot of helpers. People refer to them as angels. We refer to them as grandfathers, grandmothers, and they're all there. Our relatives, that are on the other side now. They're there too, helping us, teaching us, guiding us. That's probably the biggest thing that's missing out there, is the spiritual side of it. And when the Creator created man, He created 4 races: red, yellow, black, and white. And He gave each race gifts, and He gave our people that gift of spirit and that gift of the land. And going back in the beginning, it was learning about those 2 certain gifts, learning that we have these gifts that help us to communicate with spirit, like our relatives, so that we can get that guidance we need to help us find our way again. And when we go out on the land, we know that land, everything about the land out there has a spirit of its own, and it should be respected. It should be acknowledged for what it provides for us. So those are the things that we've been learning about, strengthening about ourselves. And that's what we share in the ceremonies. That's what we share in the lodge. That's what we try to teach our children. But when I went and began my journey, and just basically packed up and left everything behind, because I looked behind and said, what actually am I leaving behind that's that important that I shouldn't go and see for myself who the Creator made me? And to this day, after all those years that have gone by, I know differently than I did back then, but it's because I kept going and I didn't stop. And now I know a whole lot of truth differently than I thought I knew back then. And today I can go out on the land and do a lot of things that I couldn't do back then either. Today I know the value and the sacredness of life and how important it is to acknowledge everything and treat it in that most sacred manner if we want to benefit from it, The world is in such a crisis right now. And I don't want to feel, for what's coming, because, I took it upon myself to take everything for granted. And there's so many great elders out there that have influenced us and taught us and have been a part of our growth and our journey. And my father mentioned leading Earthman. One of the things he's been recently speaking about is that great binding law. And, he, leading Earthman, would be the one that would speak about that great binding law in a more fuller way than I would take it upon myself to try. There's so many elders out there that have stories to help further, back up what we're trying to say, I guess, make it more clear. In the ceremonies we do, in the gatherings we do, in the gatherings and things we're a part of, many elders are there and they share beautiful stories and beautiful histories about our people, our communities. And all that will become a part of that as well, just to create more awareness to our own people. I had to go and find it for myself. I took care of myself first before I could think I could help anybody else. Now our family, we're strong in that way. Now the doors are opening for the community. Again, there's so much missing in our community, but yet there's so much in place that it is designed to help our people and our children. But the thing about what I see that's missing is what we're talking about here. What I left home to go and find out for myself. It's that spiritual side of things. Why is that important? It's really difficult to try and get that across to anybody. It's something you have to experience. You can't explain spirit. It's something you have to go through. Your dreams are a spiritual thing. Sometimes you have a vision, that's a spiritual thing. That's all those ways that I'm talking about, that gift that the Creator gave to our people of spirit. That's those answers that are trying to be provided for us.
Gigeteminaanig Ishkoden. I want to start by introducing myself. My spirit name is Medicine Turtle, one of the names that I've been blessed with, that I've been given. I'm from the Martin clan. I'm a deer warrior and hawk spirit. I want to share a bit about who I am, the way that I've been working and living for quite a few years. I guess to begin, it was, I would have to say, maybe 25 plus years of learning. Within that time, I've been blessed with a lot of beautiful teachings. All those things that one receives in that way doesn't come without sacrifice. Through the different ceremonies we've been given. In fact, we just completed one 4-day ceremony just last night. That's just what we do. That's the way that we live. That we know that every day is a blessing, is a ceremony. Being who we are, we try to reflect those laws, those teachings that guide us, and try to reflect that in everything that we do. Anyone who comes, we don't treat them in any other way than the utmost respect, whether it's a young child, an elder or whoever.
And I think that's the biggest thing that our way of life has to offer, is a different way of thinking, a different way of seeing things. Because if you think you're poor, then you are. If you think you're all alone, then you are. We don't say, we can provide people with the answers, but we do say we can guide you and teach you how to get them yourself. I haven't walked in, anybody's moccasins but my own to be able to, read, their past or tell them what's the best answers for them. We're so unique as human beings, and it's okay to be like that. But society doesn't teach us that. It's like, oh, you're different. It's almost like you're gonna be punished, for being different in those ways. And to me now, as I've, watched and raised my children and being the main person in their life, I really got to experience and see, how different people are, but what they bring into your life with their differences. Some children are really, you can tell they're going to be leaders because they're the bossy ones, maybe the bullies. Some are just so kind-hearted and gentle. They're going to be the ones who just like to put their arms around people all the time. And those are the things, that we really embrace as being, different and unique. And an elder told me, that life's not about you. It's about what you bring into life. And so that's how I really see things, is that's what we have to offer to people, is to teach them, what do you want in your life? And the only way I know how to get the things I want into my life is to give all that I have, to others. And I think that's a concept that so many people are really grasping today, is they want to be givers. The world is showing us today constantly this is how to take and take and take and demand, at gunpoint at times now, too much. And those are the things, that we want people to have and to learn and to grasp and get themselves. You can never force anything on anybody, but just giving, people that, what do you think? What do you want? And let them get their own answers, because when they get their own answers, they're going to own it. And you can't fail, when you're guiding yourself. Everybody is so different and unique and special. And this way of life, is so empowering in that way, because we're told the Creator gave each human being a special gift, but we're to use it to work together. And how can we go wrong or fail if we're going to do that?
Gigeteminaanig Ishkoden, my name is Sunman. I'm from the Eagle clan, and I'm a white horse warrior. What does that mean? Receiving that name, Sunman, is the first part of one's journey. When the old man shared that name with my parents, he told my parents this little boy has something to do with the Sundance. And I can remember that day too, and it didn't really set good with me, because, like I said, I didn't really know the way that I know today at that time. But years later, what that old man told my parents came into play. And today, I hold the Sundance. And it's right here too in Peguis, right behind this lodge here. I've been holding the Sundance and hosting the Sundance for 13 years now, I do believe. But before that even, I was a part of the Sundance. I danced in that lodge. I danced for my life. I danced for those answers. I danced for healing. I danced for truth. And my elders were there to teach me and guide me and show me the way. And again, all those things are what's more sacred than anything to us, because it continues to teach us about who we are as a people and what the Creator gave to us. So when the people begin to come, that's what we have waiting here for. All those things. We want to start with their identity. Who are you? And we'll take them into the ceremonies. When they're ready, when they want it, and we'll help them with their identity, their name, their clan, their spirit, maybe what kind of warrior they are. And then this personal journey begins. My journey isn't the same as my father's or my sister's or my brother-in-law. It's all our own personal journey. As I moved along in life, Sunman emerged. Suddenly I'm who I am, that the Creator sent me here to be. And first of all, I'm a human being. I'm just a person wanting to live properly on the earth. But it's become more than that. Now I'm a teacher in a way. Now I'm there. I'm one of those ones that I would consider myself willing to help anybody that's looking for something. There's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of hurt and pain out there. And for what this way of life has provided for me, for what my elders have provided for me, for what they have guided me to do throughout my life, taken me back to the land, taken me into those sacred lodges, taught me the teachings that I carry today. That's what I have to offer. But it has much more meaning than just that. As they taught me, and I began to incorporate them into my life, then I could really see. Then I could really see how the Creator was providing all the happiness I was looking for through what my elders were guiding me and teaching me to do. And I want nothing more for our children, our young people, and our people in general to know the truth, to know that there's so much more waiting there for them. That we're not a stuck people, that we're not a forgotten people, that we are a strong, beautiful people. And once we learn to work together, once we learn to retrace and put all these things back into the whole of the community, maybe we can flourish again. For all the things that surround the community that are supposed to be working for the people, I'm looking for that day when we can all come together under the Creator's eyes and acknowledge that Creator for what He has given to us as a people, and hear each other in a respectful way, work together in a respectful way, and then take it out into all those areas and put it in to the lives of the people. There's a good thing really happening now. CFS has come through the door now, and they've reached out. They've been a part of it enough that they want to see maybe more how we can incorporate the way for the children and their families that are broken. And as we move along with that, again, we turn to the pipe, we turn to the fire, we turn to the ceremony, because that's where the answers come from. We're the human side of it. We perform the ceremony and the act, and we reach out to Spirit. Okay, how do we move along here? And that's where it's all coming from. Today I know, I'm 100% confident that if anybody puts that amount of time into it, they'll find what they're looking for too. So many elders that play important roles to this day and deserve full credit for why we're here today too. And a lot of those elders, they're on the other side now. They're not here with us anymore. But they're still very much a part of our lives to this day. I want to say to the people out there that may be hurting, may feel lost, and I know there's many. There's a way waiting. There's a beautiful way waiting. And it's waiting there for everybody. Don't lose hope. Don't give up. Fight for your life. You're alive. You're alive. You're breathing. That gives you every opportunity to know that there's something there. And don't ever stop praying. Even when you think all is lost and there's nobody there in your life, just pray, because God's there. Your relatives are there. Your elders are there. Ask Creator to clear your path. He'll surely find you and help you find your way. But I want to acknowledge all those different elders and different teachers that were a part of my life and my family's life, and really stress that we're still here, right from way back then, and we're still full-blown going forward and getting stronger and wiser and more than ever ready to serve and help our people, regardless any challenge or task, but we're ready to play our part, and we've been trained. We're ready. I've been saying that for a long time. Just come in if you want to learn. Give us the chance, give the Creator the chance. And I got no doubt in my mind or my heart that things will turn for the better. Now when I'm planting that garden and taking care of it, I know that seed I planted has a spirit in it. So before I even put it in the ground, I'm shaking that little bag. I hear those seeds. And again, this is a teaching from one of those elders. You're awakening. You're acknowledging that life that you're about to plant. And then I talk to those seeds, and I talk to Mother Earth, and I say, give me a good crop, because I know this food that I'm gonna grow, that's gonna come from you, is gonna be pure. It's not gonna be full of sprays and chemicals and all those things that you get out of the stores. And I gotta work hard to take care of that garden, and that becomes a part of those 4 seasons. You know, there's a certain time you have a little space in the season to plant that garden. If you wait too long, it's kind of too late. And if you plant it too early, the frost can come and take it out. So, you know, when you work with those seasons, you realize there's only certain times that you get to actually do what you're hoping you can accomplish. Even with this lodge, it's springtime now, summer's gonna roll in, and then fall. You know, that's the time I see that we have to put a whole lot more into it, because once winter comes, it kind of shuts everything down. That's what we're missing. The value of what the Creator gave to us, that red road. And it might seem like a hard thing to hear, but like I said, until you step foot on that path and put effort into it, you're never going to know, because it doesn't exist out there yet. And one thing I want to state too, we have everything we're looking for right here in Peguis already. We don't need to be running out all over the place and thinking we have to go there for that answer and we have to go there for that answer. It's all here. That's where we're headed with this Sun Lodge, this village, this way of life. It's all about the damage that's been done to our people and healing from it again, so that we can flourish the way our great-great-grandparents did and our ancestors. They worked for their life. They knew their language. They knew how sacred everything was, and they had that connection with it, and they respected it. That's what I'm talking about, that sacredness of life out there. Maybe we'd only go out there and cut enough wood to build one house, and not cut the whole forest down so that we can make money. That's all part of that circle of life and breaking those natural laws. And man thinks they can stop certain things. Man thinks they can continue to do what they're doing to the earth. What they're forgetting is that there's these elements at work too. The wind, fire, water, all those things. How are they going to stop that? If we continue to disrupt those natural laws, then those are the things that are going to come and take care of Mother Earth. We're still reaching out and acknowledging the spirit of the land. We're still grateful for when we get to eat. We're still grateful when we go and cut our firewood or get our medicines. We still put that tobacco down and say thanks. Don't forget about it. Here's an offering. I want you to know how important this offering is you're giving to me. Don't forsake me or my children or their children. Please don't forget about us. We're doing our best. And talk to those thunderbirds and those winds when they come. Please be gentle. We're trying. We'll try to get better. We'll try to abide by those natural laws. We'll try to remember that Mother Earth is alive. And we'll try our best to take care of her. That's what the elders teach us. That's what this way of life teaches us. And all those people that are responsible for creating all that mess out there, are they ready to hear this kind of knowledge and these kinds of truths and ready to fix it because it's available now. Creator put everything on the surface now for the world to see. This is what's going on. Are you going to fix it? Or is the elements? Is the wind's going to come and fix it? Is the fire going to come and fix it? And who's going to suffer? A human being. Simply because they got lost. Simply because they got disconnected. They chose to follow that there was a better way. Well, that's the better way that led us. That better way turned out to be the worst way in the end. Gigeteminaanig Ishkoden, my name is Sun Man. I'm from the Eagle Clan and I'm a White Horse Warrior. What does that mean? Receiving that name, Sun Man, is the first part of one's journey. When the old man shared that name with my parents, he told my parents this little boy has something to do with the sun dance. And I can remember that day too, and it didn't really set good with me because, like I said, I didn't really know the way that I know today at that time. But years later, what that old man told my parents came into play. Today, I hold the sun dance. And it's right here too in Peguis, right behind this lodge here. I've been holding the sun dance and hosting the sun dance for 13 years now, I do believe. But before that even, I was a part of the sun dance. I danced in that lodge. I danced for my life. I danced for those answers. I danced for healing. I danced for truth. And my elders were there to teach me and guide me and show me the way. And again, all those things are what's more sacred than anything to us, because it continues to teach us about who we are as a people and what the Creator gave to us.
I can't even remember how old, but I was pretty young, and every time I heard the drum, I just wanted to go and sit there. And if I wasn't able to sit there, I'd stand there and just listen and just watch my uncles or my older cousins. And that's just how I started, picked up the songs, and finally was able to sit at the drum. And with the help of my dad and uncles, they were able to learn the songs, learn how to take care of the drum. And then as I grew older, just a natural way of disciplining myself and others, because that drum raised me, taught me, brought me up on who I am today, and with the help of my dad and uncles, of course.
Halbuju, Nidishnakas, bald eagle woman from the Eagle Clan, white buffalo warrior. My English name is Clement Hornbrook. I am the executive director for Peguis Child and Family Services. Our partnership with the Sun Lodge Village, where the bear sits, is very important if we really want to speak the truth about our healing and how we're going to heal as a people, as a nation. I think most importantly, to hear from our community members that have participated in the Sun Lodge Village where the bear sits. It's their words that are going to move us forward. It's their words of healing that they've received, as the inspiration that they received. That's what's going to carry us forward. And I think we can all say on our own journeys we found, that healing, and we continue to heal. And that's our primary objective, is to foster that healing.
I've lived in this city my whole life, and I only come to the Peguis once in a while, and learning about my culture is really interesting because I've never lived out here, so and I don't live with my real parents, so no one actually taught me about my culture and how it works. So when I come out here, it's really interesting to finally learn my culture.
Bonjour. Name's Austin, but my name from the spirits and creator is Wasa Jesus, Mr. Tim, Makwal Gichita, Kinuno Dim, Namigwasio, Wendigokan Chachak, Shining Sun Horse, Black Bear Warrior from the Eagle Clan, Little People Wendigoan Spirit. For me, being around the drum at such a young age was a very special thing. It always grabbed my attention every time I heard the drum. And I heard my family singing at the drum, and it always gave me that drive to be there with my dad, my uncles, and the fellow singers with Red Shadow. That's where we started out, as Red Shadow. And it was always a special thing to me because seeing the grab that I had and the feeling that I had going to the drum can teach you a lot, can do a lot for you. It gives so much because of how powerful it is. Like my brother was saying, it's like the heartbeat of our mothers, and that drum can take you places. That drum can heal a lot. It's the center of our ceremonies. A respectful person, because when you have those drums, you have to have a lot of respect for that spirit of the drum and what that drum carries. And it teaches you a lot, and it humbles you. It's an amazing feeling, singing for the people and singing for many different races, I guess.
And in our way of life, the more that you are out on the land, the more you are out in the bush and you are praying and you are regaining that connection, to the Creator and to everything that He created. And when you have that, all those other things, seem so unnecessary. You don't need to strive for those things anymore because you're at such peace with just exactly what the Creator gave us.
A lot of the young people and the families that we see, that we work with, they've been through a lot, and it all stems back to a lot of different things. The lack of knowing, how to parent a child, even. A lot of things that they went through as those children too. It all goes back to what our people have gone through. A lot of people could say that, that was a long time ago. Now, why can't you move on? Why can't you just let it go? It doesn't work that way, First of all, because of who we are as the red people. If they knew, who we are and who a red person is, that they'll come to understand that we're a spiritual being. That we're connected to everything that's alive out there. We're connected to the land. We're connected to everything that the Creator made that has a spirit. That's who we are. Naturally, if we go through the hurts and pains, then our spirit is damaged, and we need to do what we can to to take care of ourselves and to relight that fire that burns in each of us, that spirit.